Are premium wet-dry vacuums like the Narwal S30 Pro and the Narwal S30 going to be worth the price you're going to pay for them? Are they going to be easy enough and light enough and maneuverable enough that a 4-year-old can clean your floors with them? And can it handle dry stain? Can it handle lots of huge big stains? Can it vacuum? This is the question that a lot of people are wondering. So instead of just listing the features like everyone else does, let's just do lots of tests and see if the new features are going to be worth the premium price for the Narwal S30 Pro and the Narwal S30. And just to point out, the white unit is going to be the S30 and the gray unit is going to be the S30 Pro. One of the most common questions that a lot of people who watch my wet dry vacuum videos have is how well do these units handle dry stains? Because we know that they're going to be pretty good for wet stains already, but how well is it going to handle these dry stains? So I'm going to do it on this grape juice here as well as some black coffee. And I'm going to let each of these stains dry for about 6 hours. And remember, the Concord grape stains are also going to be notoriously difficult because not only is it sticky, but it's also going to be very good at staining your roller. So it's going to be a good test to see if both of these rollers are going to be able to handle these dry stains and what's going to happen if you were to use it on them. And I'm just going to use this on AI mode because it's going to detect how dirty the floor is anyway for me. And as you can see, as we go through each pass, it's going to add in solution, so it's going to break down the stickiness of this Concord grape stain. And as you go backwards, it's going to remove and extract a lot of the stain right out. And it actually just takes about 3 or 4 passes for it to handle the dried Concord grape stain. And dried coffee is going to be no different, but the dried black coffee is going to be a little bit stickier. So as we go, I switched to sides so that the S30 Pro in the gray is going to be picking up the messier side for the coffee, and it's going to be going slowly because I want to make sure that we're adding enough solution and water so that it's going to be breaking down the stain. As you can see, it does a great job, but it's not going to be perfect on the first pass. And it's going to take about 3 passes for the stain to be completely removed here. And for my next trick, I'm going to have my son, who's only 4 years old, use the Narwal S30 Pro, and he's going to remove this stain for me. So he's just going to go back and forth. And remember, this is a 4-year-old, so that's just a testament to how light the Narwal is overall. And as he goes back and forth, he's not pressing the trigger. He's just going back and forth on that AI mode, and he gets the stain out easily. And if you're wondering, what does your floor look like after you use your S30 Pro or your S30? Well, here it is. It looks like just before I spilled something on it, but cleaner and mopped. And both units come with this detangling comb that is part of the brush roll area. And since the water can only flow in one direction, and there's not a lot of space between the roller and the comb, it actually does a great job removing the hair on its own. No need for anything else because this is a proven design. We see it in the Dysons and we see it on other top premium wet dry vacuums already. So let me start with the kitchen sink, or the whole shebang, or every single thing you ever seen in those videos advertising these wet dry mops. So I'm going to use chocolate syrup, strawberry syrup, caramel, chocolate milk, whipped cream, and oatmeal. So that's every single food group that you might want that you're going to spill on the floor. And I know there's a lot of people who are saying, well, I would just use a paper towel to clean that up. Imagine how many paper towels it's going to take to clean this up. Imagine how long it's going to take you. And you probably got to do it twice, and you're going to have to spray this with something just to remove all the stickiness. So for people with kids, people with pets, people with busy lives, the wet dry mops might be a better solution for them. And I also want to see how well the odor neutralizer works, especially how well it covers up the sweet smell of all that sugar. When they're both on max enhancement mode and going slowly, let's see. And some key observations I want to point out here in our kitchen sink test is that you will have to make more than one pass. The idea that any of these wet dry vacuums are going to be able to handle something this sticky and something this large just with one pass, I think we got to get that myth out of here. So it's going to really take you 3 passes, so not just one. So the question you might have is, did it pick everything up? So we got a dry paper towel here. It's brand new. I'm just going to wipe the floor. see if there's any chocolate or whipped cream. And no, it is completely clean. So there's no residue of anything. I'm also going to smell it. Smell the floor. You can smell a little bit of the chocolate, but it's really faint. So I think it picked up everything. This is kind of like, and it's not sticky at all. So it's not sticky. It's clean, and all that sugary mess is gone. Something you do need to clean very quickly. And the thing that most reviewers will never talk about because they don't use these machines enough is that the biggest improvement that the Narwal S30 and the S30 Pro made is what you see after you clean something that would traditionally just dirty up and muddy your roller brush. So here, it looks pretty much brand new after I picked up all of that strawberry, all of that caramel chocolate that would traditionally stain your brush. It's wild that it looks basically brand new again. And that's before I even run the self-clean cycle on them. So next, this is the dustbin from one of my vacuums. I'm going to put the debris here and see how well it vacuums that up. Because the key part is I need to know if it separates the debris from the liquid, especially if I'm just using it as a vacuum. So this is going to be the debris. In this side of the debris, there's lots of hair, right? There's lots of human hair. And because that has that hair, it's also going to be a good test to check out the self-cleaning. And we have this on suction mode. And the Narwhal is able to handle these clumpy, hairy messes. But just remember, there's one limitation. There's not a lot of space between the scraper and the roller. So if you're doing these really clumpy messes, which I highly doubt you are, you just want to make sure you're doing it slowly. The key thing we want to share with you is how dirty is the tank. So we know we have the bag inside the tank, and I'm just going to open it here because we have it on the floor, and then we can just have our machine clean it again. But if I take it out, and the beauty of it is that if you use it with the bag, you can see that everything is separated, including the hair. And if you're wondering, why is there extra debris that's not inside the bag, like the oatmeal on the rim of this container? It's actually because I was using mine in that 180-degree flat mode. And in this way, you got the liquid sloshing around, so it might push some of the material out of the bag. However, if you continue to run it, all the material should go back inside the bag. And if you run it on the self-clean mode, everything is going to get rinsed away in that bag easily. And let's test the self-cleaning functions here. You can either do wash or dry or wash and dry, but you're not going to be able to do a deep clean cycle because it's always going to be deep clean here. And this is where it can get a little bit confusing. For the hot water washing temperature, which is not to be confused with the iron drying temperature, the Pro model is going to be at 194 degrees versus 176 degrees on the standard S30. But if you're doing hot air drying, the S30 Pro is going to be 194 degrees again, while the S30 is going to be at a lower temperature at 158 degrees, which means that the S30 Pro will dry your roller faster. And the Narwal S30 Pro or the S30 are going to have self-explanatory self-cleaning functions. You press the button, it's just going to turn on. If you press the off button, it's going to turn off. The rollers are going to be going forwards and backwards, and the temperature of the water is going to get hotter and hotter. The secret is that the whole entire function does not last very long in terms of the washing, but it does do a very good job in terms of the drying and reducing odors. And one of the biggest complaints I always hear is how smelly wet-dry vacuums can be. But by adding the heat and having the odor neutralizer inside the dirty water tank, it is just so much better in terms of dealing with odors or potential odors. And I really had to test how these odor neutralizers work because it doesn't act like a perfume or it's just something that masks the smell like a Febreze spray. What it does do is that it eliminates the odors because they work like those crystals that you get at the supermarket. And those crystals do a really good job just reducing and eliminating bathroom smells, if you know what I mean. So imagine you have it in your dirty water tank. And for a wet-dry mop, I can really see the addition of a odor neutralizer pad or some type of crystal inside the dirty water tank catching on and being copied by everyone else. Because let's be honest with each other, we're not always emptying the tank right away, even though all the wet-dry vacuums I know always prompt you, empty the dirty water tank to prevent odors.
Dark hair cutting.
Next, let's measure how hot it gets if you're using the iron dry on the S30 or the S30 Pro. So after about 12 minutes, we're at 143 degrees on our S30 Pro, and it is still drying the mop pad, and the mop pad is basically all dry already. It is also at about 141 degrees. So I have a completely dry, brand new paper towel. So I'm just putting it here. You can see it's gonna try to collect some of the water. And let's see how dry it is. So after about 12 minutes, the paper towel is dry. Right. So dry. On the S30, after about 12 minutes, this is a brand new paper towel. Let it pick up. And it's going to be more damp. It's not as dry as what you see on the S30 Pro. So the S30 Pro is definitely going to dry faster than your S30. Your S30 will probably take a little bit longer to dry the mop pad. What's also very nice on your S30 Pro and the S30 is that the self-washing, the self-cleaning function is very good. It doesn't last too long. It's about 2.5 to 3 minutes. But once you see that after picking up all of that debris, it even cleaned the edges. And that is the secret here. Normally, the edges would be dirty, but on this unit, the edges are clean. And I think that's just something that they've been really practicing. And without even really doing the iron dry, I wouldn't say that this is about 70% dry. So just 30% remaining. And what was most surprising is that we did this with chocolate, we did it with caramel, we did it with strawberry syrup, as well as oatmeal. And the roller is looking brand new again. So next test, we're gonna do some chocolate milk, oat milk, whipped cream, oatmeal. This is gonna be our oatmeal test. We do this every wet dry vac. Same test, we're gonna put about a half cup of oatmeal. And my key point is that after it cleans this mess, you can just take your wet dry vacuum and do the rest of your house. You don't need to clean it right after this. And honestly, if you wanted, your Narwal is going to be capable of handling 30 messes in a row like this. So then let's use it in the real world. So this is going to be on dried cat food. And I just used my Narwal with that edge cleaning to pick it all up. No point in having repeated passes because now you have that increased 20,000 Pascal of suction power and it'll just pick everything up easy breezy for you. And because you have that AI mode, it really behaves just like you would get on any of the dirt detection systems you get on other wet dry vacuums, but you have the trigger for max mode and it has that wood floor setting. And to show you how well it does if you're just picking up larger wet particles, this is going to be our oatmeal test. So we're going to let it set for about 30 minutes, spill it on the floor, and both the S30 and the S30 Pro are going to have the same performance on it. And similar to any of the ultra premium models out there, the Narwal S30 Pro and the S30 pick everything up. And let's dig a little bit deeper, just a little bit more to show you how dirty is the dirty water tank after cleaning that oatmeal, cleaning the cat litter, cleaning my floors, as well as my carpet. So when you take it out here, you can see that a lot of the cat litter and the oatmeal is going to be collected on the top. And the filter does a good job just separating everything even without the bags. But if you want to use the bags, this is what it's going to look like. So if you have the bags, this is with oatmeal, with the hair, that's how dirty the bag is going to get. And running all of our tests here, you can see that the bag does make cleanup easy, but it doesn't really change what you have to do. You still have to rinse the filter, you still have to clean the tank, and this is what our floor looks like after I finish vacuuming and mopping my floors with one machine. Next, let me just mention the auto soap dispenser on the Narwal S30 Pro because it's something that I really do think that if you can afford it, it's going to be worthwhile for you. And the best reason why to have a unit that has the auto soap dispenser is that it really extends the lifespan of your soap. Because you know these tanks are not huge, especially if you're doing a floor maybe 600, 700, 1,000 square feet. So if I pop this out, this tank is going to be full of soap because you might say, okay, I'm going to use the detergent and the water sparingly on my floors, especially if you have it on like a wood floor setting or suction. But the problem is that when you actually do the self-cleaning, it uses way more water than you think. Your S30 Pro also comes with a trigger. Your S30 does not come with a trigger. And that's how you activate the max mode. So if we turn on our unit, you want to put it on max, you can hold down the trigger.
cleaning, quiet mode, suction mode, AI mode, auto detergent filling turned off, auto detergent filling turned on, wooden floor cleaning, mass enhancement activated, mass enhancement activated.
In terms of the wood floor option, it's not going to be for everyone because if your floors are raw or they're unfinished, do not use the wood floor. Any water could potentially damage your floors. But if your floors have like a polyurethane coating on top, it is going to be okay to use it. I will say test it on specific areas, and if you're not sure, just do not. So ultimately, what's my verdict on the Narwal S30 Pro and the Narwal S30? Both are going to be very powerful and effective wet dry vacuums. And between the two, the Narwal S30 Pro is going to be better than the Narwal S30, specifically because the handle has a trigger and it's going to be easier to use. It's also coming with just a small bump in the runtime, but you're getting that auto detergent dispenser, which makes a world of difference, and it's going to be able to dry its mop roller about 5 minutes faster than what you get with the Narwal S30. But in terms of overall cleanliness, both are going to do about the same job in cleaning the same stains on the floor. It's also commendable that Narwal is trying to do something different on their charging stations, where they're not just giving you a charging station or a flash dry station, they added on that detangling hair cutting tool. And that tool is niche. It's not going to be the right tool for everyone. But if you have a lot of pet hair and you got a lot of long hair in your house, and you find that your roller is going to get tangled up in long hair, well, at least now you have a cutter that's going to cut it. But being completely honest, for most homes, that dual layer comb that's built inside the scraper tool is already going to be very effective at removing all the hair off the roller anyway. But with that said, depending on the price you're getting it, remember a lot of the Ultra models that you're seeing from other brands like Roborock, Tinico, or even Shark are getting more and more expensive. And the Narwal S30 looks different. It's going to be probably the best looking of the wet dry mops you can get out there. And it's also going to be incredibly effective. And it can be used as a vacuum that's not just going to be a light vacuum. You can actually use it on low to medium pill carpets, even without having the more concentrated or nylon bristles on the roller mop. And having that wood clean mode on both the S30 Pro and the S30 separates it from other wet dry mop or other wet dry vacuums. And that's really because you feel more confident using on your sealed wood floors, not your unfinished. And it does a great job just minimizing the amount of liquid or moisture that you're adding to your floors and hopefully protecting them for longer. And similar to Narwal's philosophy with the Narwal Flow RoboVac, the Narwal S30 and the S30 Pro are really going to try to be very good looking and very effective, as well as somewhat affordable so that you're getting as much value as possible. So with that, thanks for watching everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below, and please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help support our channel. And I'll catch you next time. This is Dave with the French Glow signing off. Bye, bye, bye.